Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to Sigi Air. Today we are in Helsinki, Finland, and we are going to fly this beautiful aircraft. Right in front of us is the MD-11, and I'm going to recreate its maiden voyage when Finnair initially purchased. I believe there were 3 or 4 of these aircrafts here, the MD-11. So the first MD-11 was delivered to Finnair on December 7th, 1990, and it accomplished the first revenue service by MD-11 on December 20th, 1990, carrying passengers from Helsinki to Tenerife in the Canary Islands. So I am going to recreate that flight, that first revenue service from Finnair from Helsinki to Tenerife. I'm gonna go through the startup procedure, and I'm not gonna go too much in detail. This is not a how-to type of video, but you'll get a good sense of how you get this baby started and get it going. And you'll find that it's not that difficult. It's just I don't think it's as simple as the 777, but I don't think it's as difficult as the 737 or even the MD-80, which is kind of a complicated one. So let's get going on this maiden voyage. And with us, we're going to be using Say Intentions AI, and we're going to have Janet as our crew member. Hopefully Say Intentions AI can stay with us for that 6-hour flight. You don't have to stay up. I'm going to obviously edit portions of the cruise section, so you don't have to watch for 6 hours. But stay with us with Sigi Air. It'll be fun to take off and then approach in landing into the Canary Islands with this baby. All right. So the first thing we're gonna do is just gonna request our flight plan from SimBrief. If you don't see your EFB here, you can just click over here and it'll just show up again. And we have our 7 tabs over here in the EFB. The first thing we're going to do is dispatch and then import the flight plan from SimBrief. It'll show up right in here. We got a cruising altitude of 36,000 feet, and it's about 6 and 3/4 hours flight. We're going to use a lot of fuel. So one thing about this aircraft is the reason it really didn't take off in terms of being popular or being developing. There were only about 200 of them made, and I think what happened was that the first of all, it didn't really achieve the fuel efficiency that the airlines wanted. And being a tri-jet around these time, the 1990s and close to 1995, you were getting into the ETOPS with a 2-engine aircraft being able to do these transatlantic or longer haul flights. So because of that energy efficiency, fuel efficiency and all of that, the airlines kind of like faded these passenger versions of these aircraft. So you see a lot of freighters like UPS and FedEx have a lot of these still flying. All right, so let's go ahead. Before we send anything in there, we just gotta get power in this aircraft here. So well, first we're gonna do is with the first panel, second panel, third panel over here. And before we do anything with the flow, we're just gonna open and uncage the battery, turn that on, recage that, and because we have external power available, we're just gonna use that. And that's good. That give us some power here. Usually these CRTs will take a little time to turn on and power up. I think I have it set up to being quicker than the traditional or in real life one. One thing is that the EFB doesn't do is it doesn't connect the jetway. Then we're going to send our flight plan to the FMC, and we're gonna take a look at payload here, and we are full. We're gonna be taking like 290 passengers to Tenerife, to the Canary Islands, so they can vacation there, and 79 pounds per. I think we want to make this metric, and we're gonna save that because our sim brief plan is metric. That's something that you really need to make sure that you're setting up here. So we leave it at 79 kilos per passenger. All right, let's get going here. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to program the FMC. We have both of them, FNC1. You get that. Make sure our active database is current, 13th of June to 10th of July, and that is current for our ERAC 2406. All right, our engines are the CFC, which is the General Electric, and we're going to go to our flight plan, and we are going from EFHK to GCTS, and that's good. Flight number is, well, should he put the Sea Air C 1123, and here our cruise is 36,000, or flight level 360. There we go. Our cost index is, that should be in here, 112. Oh, see that? Why is that not cost efficient here? Very high cost index. An alternate for us here today is Puerto del Rosario GCFV. All right, so let's go to page 2. We'll set the payloads and fuel, and that is set, and we'll come in here and we'll just click on this, and we'll be imported into the FMC. Not too difficult, and then we will just leave these ones as they are. All right, so that part, the flight plan in it, is completed. So then we go to flight plan, and we're going to put in our sit. So let's take a look at what our sit is. Not sure if it's gonna show over here. Yeah, it will. And that will be runway 22 left, and then we go to direct to a Devo, which is over here. The only thing it didn't show me is the runway. All right, so (22) left, and then we going direct to a Devo. All right, let's click on insert. So we're going to get rid of this flight plan discontinuity because we don't have any sits out of Helsinki. That clear, and that's good. All right, so let's scroll down and look at the rest of the flight plan. All right, so I'm going to put in our arrival here and star. So if I select Ortis, it will just Ortis 2X. It will give me only the runways available for that particular one. So it's 07 over here. All right, so that's looking good. We're gonna insert that, and let's take a look at from the top of descent down to runway 07 ILS 07. So that looks pretty good. Let's go back up and find any other issues here, and I don't think we have any. Preference page or performance page, I'm sorry, call it preference page, and we're gonna do our climb forecast, and unfortunately this doesn't get picked up from the flight plan, so we have to kind of do it ourselves here. And looking at the flight plan, our climb 350 slash 203 slash 00099. That's our top. That looks good. Set it, insert it. Oh, forgot the temperature of in Helsinki is all right. We'll insert that. All right, so if we go to flight plan, then we got our flight levels, and all of that is calculated by the computer, and we are all set with except we need to do the takeoff and approach. So we do that here. We got the weather, and we get the tow here. So we're taking from runway 22 left. Got a slope of 0, runway length of 3,500 meters, and the wind is 220 at 19 with a headwind of 19 knots. Temperature of 19, and the pressure is 1007 hectopascal. So we're gonna be thrust flex. We got our takeoff weight. We're going to set our anti-ice to engine. Flaps, let's go with flaps 15, and the packs we can packs are on. Let's 2 packs on and calculate, because it's summer, 142, 154, 168 with a flex temp of 57. All right, we'll put that in here. So slope is 0.0 slash, and we'll put that in here. And our outside temperature is 19. I think they want 19C. There we go. Yeah, in this temperature you need to specify whether there is centigrades or Fahrenheit. All right, and our flaps are 15, and they calculated, so we need to verify this. That's 136, and got 142, 154. So the first one is, we'll set this for the B1. 154 is correct, and 168 is correct. Thrust limits, and we will set that climb 1. That all looks pretty good, my friends. All right, so the FMC is all set up, and let's go to, so now let's get the APU going here. So APU is available, and that's gonna get it started. Meantime, we're gonna set our nav lights are on, and The rest is good. We're going to kind of bring the floodlights a little bit here. Emergency lights are armed. And I'm gonna get the Say Intentions AI started here. Well, the other thing we need to do is, before we do anything, we just want to align the IRSs here. That goes and then test the cargo fire, and that's going to take a little while for the IRSs to be armed. We're going to test our cockpit recorder. That looks good. Arm the emergency lights here. Oh, we're going to set the cargo to high, and then the aft to medium. A little bit better than that. And I think everything else looks pretty good for now. Seat belts go to auto for now. Alright, so the APU started. We're going to go with APU bleed now. Packs will be on. So we want to make sure that before we take off, every light is extinguished here. We're going to test the engine fire.
Engine 1 fire. Engine 2 fire. Engine 3 fire. Engine 1 fire.
Alright, that sounds good to me. Cabin pressure will be set to automatic. We don't need to touch that. And then we'll set the anti-ice to engine.
Tree, Lima, Juliet taxi to holding point Charlie 2 via taxiways Alpha and Bravo.
Taxiing to holding point Charlie 2 via Alpha and Bravo, Learjet, Tree, Lima, Juliet.
Okay, we'll do that later once the engines are started. Okay, and we will go ahead. We said we were doing flaps 15. So we need to set it here, and this is the dial a flap selector. So we're gonna scroll this down to 15. So what that does is, once you set your flaps to the dial flap over here, it sets it to 15. Okay. Then we're gonna set the auto brake to takeoff, and we can go ahead and request our pushback and startup. Now that we have the APU, we'll do that later because we can disconnect now. As a matter of fact, let me do that now and disconnect the services here. Our parking brake is off. We'll get the GPU removed and do that. And let's say, well, first of all, let's pick up our IATIS from Say Intentions.
2 right, 15. Visual approaches in use. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if basic information service is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Juliet.
Alright, we have information Juliet.
Helsinki Vantaa Airport, information Juliet.
And our QNH is 1007. So we want to set that. We're going to change it to hectopascals, and it's going to bring it down to 1007. We'll do the same thing for the FO. Center Sigier 1123 with information Juliet at Helsinki Vantaa Airport. Would like to pick up our IFR to Tenerife.
Sigier 1123, Helsinki Control, clearance on request. Stand by.
Alright, so let them do their stuff.
Ziggy Air 1123, Helsinki Control. Information Juliet is correct. Cleared to Tenerife South. After departure, fly radar vectors to Adivo, then as filed. Departure runway 22 left. Initial climb to 4000. Departure on 124.325, squawk 5142.
Oh, that's
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Janet, your lead flight attendant, speaking. We've just closed the main cabin door and started our pushback from Helsinki Airport. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened, because Captain Luis is at the controls and, well, let's just say he's still working on his parking skills. Also, turn off all electronic devices, unless you want to see what happens when a phone meets an airplane engine. Our flight today is ZIG 1123, from Helsinki to Tenerife Sur. The weather in Tenerife is a lovely 27 degrees Celsius, which is quite warm, so pack your sunscreen. Our estimated flight time is about 5 hours and 20 minutes, but with Captain Luis, who knows? We might take a scenic route. Toby and I will be here to assist you with anything you need except flying the plane. That's Luis's job,
all right.
and he's got a 50 to 50 chance of getting it right.
All right.
Thank you for your attention,
Thank
and
you,
remember,
Janet.
safety is our #1 priority, right?
Cleared to Tenerife South after departure flight radar vectors to Adivo, then as filed. Departure runway 22 left. Initial climb to 4000. Departure on 124.325. Squawk 5142. CG 1123. Alright, so 4000 on the box. I don't have GSX, so and I wasn't sure if I should get it for this particular aircraft here. So I'm not a fan of GSX because I got it on a free version at some point and it really didn't work out. It was really buggy and all of that, so I just kind of like never consider it again. So maybe they've worked out their bugs and it might be worthwhile to get that. But I'm not sure if they have a routine for the MD-11 here. Alright, while they do that, let's get our engine started here. So we are going to select engine ignition B. And our IRS is are set here. And
Piper 623, Charlie Echo, say altitude.
Currently at 7500, Piper 623, Charlie Echo.
emergency power needs to be set here. And where is that? I think that's a lever. Alright, so we need to arm emergency power. And that is extinguished from here. Emergency lights are disarmed. I thought that I set that. Emergency lights will be armed. There we go. Alright, so we're set for we're gonna stop push back here. I want to. Alright, and we're gonna set our brakes. Alright, so we are set for our engine start on engine 3. We'll pull that and we'll watch come over here. We want 15 to 20% on the N2 before we introduce the fuel. So I think that looks good. 20% and fuel. N1 is rising, N2 is rising, EGTs are rising, and that's set up, so that's good. That's a good start. We'll do the same for engine 1. Looking for 20% over here. That looks good. Get that. Two engines going here. That engine is going. That one is not. We can get that one started now. 13, 14, 15. And that is looking good. Fuel. That engine has started. So we got 3 good engine starts here. We're gonna look up here. The IRSs will align once we go back to the box, and we need to go here and initialize our IRSs. And that looks good. They're all initialized. This pack 2 will extinguish pretty soon. Once that's engine 2 is all set, the APU is switched off automatically.
JetBlue 222, maintain 300 knots. Maintaining 300 knots. JetBlue 222.
And we don't need that APU bleed. And all of the lights are off. So we need to, that APU will shut off, and that did automatically. Excellent. All right, so let's get our lights. To taxi. Should have turned on the beacon light, but we're not gonna do that anymore. So our lights are, and we could turn on the logo light is on, and then the high intensity light. And everything looks good. So let's taxi to runway 22 left. That looks so good. That aircraft is fantastic with the Finnair livery. All right, so let's get in touch with ground. Ground, Sigi Air 1123 would like to taxi to runway 22 left for IFR departure. And of course, you know, the little guy.
Sigi Air 1123, Helsinki ground. Taxi to runway 22 left via Alpha Charlie Yankee Zulu, cross runway 15, then Zulu Alpha. Contact tower on 119.7 when ready for departure.
Taxi to runway 22 left via Alpha Charlie Yankee Zulu, cross runway 15, then Zulu Alpha. Contact tower on 119.7 when ready for departure. Thank you. It's busy today here. All right, so we have Alpha Charlie Yankee Zulu. So Alpha Charlie Yankee, Alpha Charlie, then Yankee Zulu, Alpha Charlie, I believe this is Yankee, then Zulu, cross runway 15. So they wanted Alpha Charlie, Yankee Zulu, cross runway 15, and then Zulu Alpha. That's it. That is pretty good. All right, so that's all set. Let's get going. And this one is Alpha Charlie. I like it. This is just like my favorite aircraft, which is the L1011. I wish some developers will take it on and they would give us a nice L1011. Yeah, Zulu is to our right over here. Yeah, it is a little bit challenging on the taxi on this particular aircraft. You have to get used to it. So we go straight Zulu cross runway 15. Probably gonna follow that A320 over there. It's good that he's taken off before we are, because we're heavy.
Ziggy 1123, contact tower on 119.7.
Tower on 119.7, Sigi Air 1123 Heavy. Look at that. Helsinki Tower, Sigi Air 1123 Heavy at runway 22 left, ready for takeoff.
Zig Air 1123, Helsinki Tower, winds 211 at 19 at runway 22 left, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 22 left, Sigi Air 1123 Heavy. Alright, so we are at our runway ready for takeoff. We're going to hit auto flight once. That's going to arm takeoff mode. We are takeoff clamp, and auto brakes are set to takeoff. Seatbelts are set. We did that, and we are good to go. I'm just gonna bring my position
Citation
here.
433 Mike Whiskey, hold short of runway 20, traffic on final.
Holding short of runway 20, citation 433 Mike Whiskey.
All right, so what we need to do is to start to bring our engines to 70%,
Citation 433
and then
Mike
the
Whiskey,
auto
hold short
throttle
of
will
runway
take
12,
over.
traffic on final.
All right, 70%. These boxes green, so that's good. %, auto throttle takes over, and we're good to go. This is a very powerful aircraft, so we'll get there very quickly. Ignore that. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. We want to pitch about 15 to 20%. And we're gonna bring first set of flaps.
Ziggy 1123, contact departure on 124.325.
And then above 1000, we're gonna hit auto flight again, and then nav mode, and we'll go to profile. Departure on 124.325, Sigi Air 1123 Heavy. Oh, they didn't hear me.
Ziggy 1123, say again.
Contact departure of 124.325, thank you. All right. All right, we're above SR, so we'll bring up the slats. Helsinki departure, Sigi Air 1123 Heavy with you at 4000.
Ziggy Air 1123, Helsinki approach identified. Cleared direct Adivo. Ziggy Air 1123, Helsinki approach. Climb and maintain flight level 220.
Cleared direct to Adivo and climb and maintain flight level 220, Sigi Air 1123 Heavy. Alright, so now what we do is go 220. A little bit slow here. 220. One thing that we're getting into is some icing here. I'm going to turn on the engine. Icing on. because this is Finland.
United 540 traffic alert at your 3 o'clock, 5 miles same altitude. Advise when in sight.
Looking for the traffic, United 540.
Ziggy 1123, climb and maintain flight level 280.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached 10,000 feet. You may now use your approved portable electronic devices, which is great news if you're addicted to Candy Crush. For your continued safety, please keep your seatbelt fastened at all times. Even if Captain Luis, who flies like he's playing a video game, turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. Thank you.
Alright, so climb and maintain flight level 280, Ziggy 1123. So let's go to flight level 280. Helsinki Control, Ziggy Air 1123 Heavy with you at flight level 11,000 for flight level 280.
Ziggy 1123, good evening. Ziggy 1123, climb and maintain flight level 340.
Climb and maintain flight level 340, Ziggy Air 1123 Heavy. Alright, so let's... So this is sometimes very difficult to get into here. Turn off the auto brake. And get rid of our spoiler.
Delta 1221, descend and maintain 2000.
Delta 1221,
Right now,
to 2000.
we are in pitch mode, nav 1, profile to 36,000, climb thrust at, and we need to go to standard pressure, so we pull for standard. Same thing on the FO. Alright, so far great departure here from Helsinki.
Ziggy 1123, climb and maintain flight level 380.
Climb and maintain flight level 380, Ziggy 1123. So actually this is not our cruise altitude on our flight plan, so we're just gonna set 360 and then request flight level 360 once we get there from Say Intentions from ATC.
Ziggy 1123, contact Helsinki Control on 121.3.
Helsinki Control on 121.3, Ziggy Air 1123 Heavy. Yeah, so our flight plan is 360. Alright, we can leave that in there. Or if it's a problem, we can click it off. And past 10,000, we will turn off the beacon light is off, and nav lights are on, and seat belts can go to off, and we will retract the landing lights and taxi lights. Everything else looks pretty good. I haven't heard from Janet.
Piper 456 Alpha Bravo, cleared into the Bravo airspace, maintain 6500. Cleared into Bravo, maintaining 6500, Piper 456 Alpha Bravo.
Alright, so just cruising over Sweden. Looking pretty good though. It's a great aircraft here that flies very well. So this was a route that Finnair flew a couple of years from Helsinki to Tenerife.
United 567, reduce speed to 230 knots for sequencing.
And then used
230 knots, United
this
567.
particular aircraft for it, and then slowly transitioned to the A330 because of this aircraft. You know, the fuel consumption was just getting to be higher than they expected when they bought the aircraft. So, hey Janet, can we have some lunch, please?
Oh, Captain Luis, always thinking with your stomach. We'll get lunch sorted, though I must say, your flying skills are a bit like my cooking. Questionable at best.
I'm glad you're taking responsibility for your skills, Janet.
Well, Captain Luis, it's a bit like taking responsibility for a dodgy haircut. You just have to own it and hope no one notices too much. Now, if you could just keep us in the air without any of your usual creative flying, that'd be grand.
Alright, we were just handed to Scottish Control. We're about to enter, or we already entered Scottish airspace, so we are flying along and it's fantastic. So far so good. A smooth flight here and no issues to report, and we'll just check on our instruments here on the overhead panel. Everything is off, or no lights, which is what we want to see.
Cessna 123 Victor, Quebec, caution turbulence from preceding 757, maintain 7000.
Our fuel
Caution for turbulence, maintaining
looks
7000 Cessna 123 Victor, Quebec.
And let's see, let's go through the pages here. Engine, we can see that over here too, but everything looks good. To get some information here, which is very useful if you wanted to reprogram or do something with the FMC: gross weight, fuel, center of gravity, stabilizer settings, cabin altitude comfortable at 6,630. Cabin rate is stable. Everything else looks pretty good so far. As I was saying, later on, after the initial manufacturing of the MD-11 with the General Electric engines, then they switched to the Pratt & Whitney because early estimates indicated that the Pratt & Whitney powered MD-11 was to have about 7,000 nautical miles of range with 61,000 pounds of payload. MD worked with NASA Langley Research Center to study aerodynamics improvements. The PIP, the improvement program, lasted until 1995 and recovered the range for the aircraft. So they were able to, make those adjustments. However, by this point, sales of the MD-11 had already been significantly impacted. In 1995, American Airlines sold its. They had 19 MDs, so they sold them to FedEx. As the PIP program was not sufficient for the aircraft to fly the Dallas-Fort Worth, Hong Kong route. McDonnell Douglas merged with Boeing in 1997, and the unified company decided that the MD-11 production would continue exclusively with the freighter variant. So as of March 2001, 195 out of the 200 aircraft were still operational, serving 23 different operators worldwide. Most of the airlines that ordered the MD-11 for their long-haul passenger flights had replaced them with the Airbus A330 or the A340 and Boeing 777 by the end of 2004. Some carriers converted the MD-11 to freighters, such as China Eastern Airlines and Korean Air. And in 1995, American agreed to sell its 19 aircraft to FedEx, with the MD-11 being transferred, with all of them being transferred in 1996. Alright, so the sun is starting to set. Yeah, at this altitude you won't see it, but it's probably setting back in the Canary Islands. We should have a nice sunset landing today in Tenerife. Alright, so we're looking at 2,500 when we get to the start of our ILS track here at T57. So we'll be landing on runway 7. See if we can get closer here. There we go. Just gotta hit it in the right spot. And that's about it. Alright, so we'll do our performance calculation, but most likely we can get out. We're gonna be pretty light when we land, so I think we can take B4. We should have gone into Lisbon Center. I haven't heard back from ATC. You know, it's a good thing with it's a good idea with that same intentions just to go ahead and give them a little nudge here. So I'm going to select center, the frequency for that for Lisbon Center, and I'm going to give them a nudge. Lisbon Center, Sigui Air 1123 Heavy with you at flight level 360.
Sigui Air 1123 Lisbon, good evening.
Alright, so it's always a good idea. Always a good idea.
Sigui 1123, contact Canary's control on 128.975. Sigui Air 1123, Canary's control. Expect the ILSY runway 7 approach into Tenerife South via the Ortai 2 X-ray arrival. I'll have your descent for you, let's say, in about 17 minutes.
So right now what we have here is that our top of descent is coming fairly soon. So we are here at Brick, and then top of descent will be after Brick right over here. And we should be getting then instructions to descend. They may say descend via, you know, whatever star, and then we'll do that. So what we can do is start preparing our descent here. Let's go to let's go to our descent forecast here, and let's put in our descent winds, and that is our, and then our temperature in Tenerife. Okay, so we'll insert that. So
Maintaining Mach 78, Southwest 887.
I'm going to turn on the floodlights here. Got the overhead lights, look good. The ones down here look good. Alright, so we got it nicely set up here for this dusk landing here into Tenerife. That, and if they gave, if say intentions gives us instructions at this point, once we cross this, we know they are on top of their game. Increased in the range here, so even though we look like we're on top of it, we are just about to get there, so we'll give them a break so far. If not, I'm going to start my profile descent, and it should be to flight level 240. And I don't want to be too late, so I'm going to start it now, because then it won't. The profile 240. See, we're below over here, so that's why it's coming down. So this
American 106, contact New York Center on 133.2.
this
Switching
will,
to New York Center, 133.2 American 106.
this bar here will just show you whether you are on profile, high on profile, or low on the profile. So we are right now, or are above that profile, and we're coming into it right now. And we haven't heard from ATC, so we just want to stay on top of it. Looks like a beautiful afternoon here in Tenerife, in the Canary Islands, Tenerife. Canary's control, still waiting for my approach and descent into Tenerife.
Ziggy 1123, descend and maintain flight level 240. Expect ILS approach to runway 7 at Tenerife South via ORT2, X-ray arrival.
Descend and maintain flight level 240. Expect ILS approach to runway 7 at Tenerife South via the Ortex 2X arrival. Ziggy Air 1123 Heavy. So yeah, we have to, you know, notch them a little bit. Alright, so we are on profile right now. Don't worry about Betty. Betty was the best AI that they could come up with at that time, in the 1980s. So the aircraft is slowing down, and it's gonna ask me for drag, add drag. So we're gonna do that, and it's gonna grab it. Yeah, this
Southwest 280, continue climb to flight level 290. Continuing climb to flight level 290, Southwest 280.
these spoilers, you have to do it on the scroll wheel on your mouse, unless you have something else binded to your yoke. They still asking for drag? That's as much drag as I can give them, or give the aircraft. So that, I think that's fine. It's supposed to be 220, so that's good.
Climbing to flight level 380, Hawaiian 645.
So that is continuing its descent, now set to 19. So it's profile to 1100. So it should continue the descent. Okay, so our speed is a little bit fast, so we need to add some drag here. Looking really good. So originally I had some issues with this aircraft with the installation. It's not the best installation system from the developer. So I actually had to do it a couple of times, and I ended up having to do it as install it as an administrator, because for some reason it was blocking certain things. Whoops. I disconnected the autopilot. So we are profiled to 8,000. I have haven't heard back from ATC. I guess they're assuming that I'm doing what they're initially asked me to do, to descend via the ORX2. Still going kind of fast here. I need to be at 220 and I'm at 245. Yeah, let's put some more drag into it. Just fantastic. Can't say enough. I'm very happy with this aircraft. Even so, like I said before, I did have some issues. All right, get the spoilers here.
JetBlue 617 cross time and at or above 10,000.
Crossing Timon at or above 10,000, JetBlue 617.
There are also no checklist for the aircraft. You have to go to the manual, so there's no electronic checklist here. And I'm going to do a performance calculation here quickly. Runway 7, dry conditions. We'll get the weather information. And temperature of 24, landing weight, all right, 172.64. All right, and we're gonna do flaps 35, or let's calculate that. So we are pretty much on the money here. Let's go back and make sure that we are on profile here. Haven't heard back from Say Intentions, so T6765 need to be at 3,000. It's gonna bring this back down. At this point, so we hire high on profile. At this point, we can arm the approach. So I need to be at so this is different. So I need to be at 3,000, and it's just not giving me that correct altitude here on profile. All right, let's go into auto brakes. So we set auto brakes minimum, and then we're gonna arm the spoiler. See, we're high on that profile. We can catch up. And I was abandoned by Intentions Say I. I'm just gonna have to tell Janet, prepare for landing. Janet, prepare for landing.
Captain Lewis, I think you might be a bit confused. We're still climbing, not landing.
Yeah, we are high. Certainly we are high on this profile. But we need to be at 3,000 when we get into that glide slope. So, alright, so we need to be at 2,500. So this says no GPS, so might be an issue here. Now I should have auto-tuned to that frequency, which is 109.7. There we go. Here's the glide slope. It's arm, hold until we get there. Down to 190. And we're under, so we can go to the next flap setting. Kind of funky on that. And let's go down to 170. And we're still above that glide slope. VR is 154. So let's go to 160.
Alaska 993, cleared through Bravo airspace.
Cleared through Bravo Alaska 993.
And let's get the gear down.
Sigi 1123, cleared for the RD2 X-ray arrival into Tenerife South.
Come on, give me a break. Say intentions. Alright, the glide slope is coming down.
Sigi 1123, contact Tenerife South Tower on 119.0. November 9537, Foxtrot, climb and maintain 11000.
Tower and 119.0.
7 Foxtrot.
Tenerife Tower, Sigi Air 1123 Heavy, with you, landing runway 7. Alright, so that looks good.
Zigier 1123, Tenerife South Tower, winds 084 at 18. Runway 7 clear to land.
2500.
Zigier 1123, Tenerife South Tower, 3 miles from PS 710. Cleared for the ILSY runway 7 approach.
It's out of sequence here. Clear to land, runway 7, Sigi Air 1123 Heavy. I can't see. I wanted to get rid of the tablet, but I can't see it now. Am I a little bit off here on this? Looks like I'm left of the horizontal track here. .154 is our VR speed. I may just have to take over here. Yeah, Betty. Okay, Betty. All right, let's see how this goes with, I'm gonna take over at 500. The session altitude is 208, but I'm gonna take over at 500. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do it now. Auto thrust should be set here, so we are. Yeah, come on, baby. So the poppies are really bad, so you don't. Alright, so let's find our parking spot here, because Say Intentions is not really giving us many instructions over here, so we are on our own. This airport shouldn't be a problem. I mean, this airport has can handle 747s and any other wide bodies, so that shouldn't be an issue. This should do it over here. All right. Okay, so we're gonna skip the GSX because I don't have it right now, and it doesn't really work well for this particular aircraft. So let's turn off these lights, they're too bright. And we keep logo lights on. We'll turn off the we'll turn off the nav lights and the beacon light, and we can just turn off the seatbelt sign. Alright, that was really interesting flight and interesting landing. So my friends, again, thank you for flying Sigi Air. Remember, Sigi Air will get you there. Sigi Air is best in the air, and my friends, I really don't make this stuff up. I'm only told what to say. Alright, hope you enjoy this flight, and I'll see you on the next one.